In the previous video, we set up an offensive player class, and now we need to create a wing class which inherits from that offensive player. So we go down and let's go ahead and create ourselves a class wing and say it extends offensive player. And then we'll give it some unique attributes related to its diagram, which says what's supposed to be in it. And S side of rink is one of those, and I goals is the other. All right, let's go ahead and say let O wing 1 equals new wing and see what happens. And I have commented out everything else that would create an alert box, like instantiating an offensive player or checking for a jersey number. So right now, I am just creating a wing instance. So I'll hit save, and it says I'm a player from the player parent most parent class, offensive player from the direct super class, and then we're done because we didn't do anything. Okay, but we need to do something with these parameters, and also we know that the way that we called this, we didn't actually pass any parameters that got set in the object. So none of these things that it expects, like jersey number, weight, or offensive rating, none of that stuff got passed. So we need to have a way to capture that information when we enter it in here on this line. So to do that, what we need to do is add a constructor. And the things we need to pass to it are the things that the previous class received, the parent class is expecting to receive. So we're going to need all those things. And we're also going to be passing in these two new attributes. Now we haven't added any of that here, but we will. Let's create a variable that makes sense, s side of rink temp, because this variable is going to go away after the constructors block is done executing, and then I goals temp. And then after that, we can assign all of our variables. Now recall that the first thing we have to do is not assign one of these with this dot and the name of this parameter that got passed in. Instead, we have to call super. So we'll go super, and we are going to pass in all of those ones right there. That's what the parent class is expecting. All right, and then once that is done executing, then we can do the this dot, and we'll say side of rink equals s side of rink temp, and then we'll say this dot I goals equals I goals temp, so the thing that got passed into the constructor that we haven't written yet. And then of course we can do some additional code here to show that we can do more than simply set variables as part of our constructor. We can do some other behavior, call any other JavaScript code. So I'll say I am a wing player, and this will let us know whenever this constructor has been run. And then down here, as part of our wing, we now need to send in a set of arguments or parameters. So I'm going to copy from my other code. So we've got jersey number, height, weight, X position, Y position, offensive rating, and the two new things we have to pass in are left and how many goals they got. Oops. Missed that parenthesis there. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out and see what happens. So first we see the constructor being called from the player class. Then we see the constructor being called from the offensive player class. And lastly, we see the wing players constructor being called. Let's go ahead and check now that all of the variables got set as expected. So I'm going to come back to here, and first I'm going to test something from the most parent class, which is player. So I'll say alert, testing presence of jersey number from player space, and then we have to reference that variable owing1 dot iJersey number. Subsequently, we are going to test something from the offensive player class, something that it gets from that, and its unique attribute is offensive rating. So I'll reference the variable again, .f offensive rating. And then lastly, alert, testing presence of side of rink from, not form, from wing. Wing dot, and then it's side of rink. There we go. All right, so if everything worked correctly, then the super calls are going to pass the variables that were sent in to all of the parent class constructors. So let's go ahead and hit save. I'm a player. I'm an offensive player. I'm a wing player, so all three constructors have been called at this point. Now we're testing the presence of the jersey number, so we're able to read an attribute that only gets set in the player constructor, so it got passed up the chain through using the super method. And then similarly, in the offensive player, we're able to note that we sent up 0.03 using the super method, and it made it to that constructor in offensive player and was assigned. And then lastly, we're able to see side of rink from the object that is the most child object and which we created. All right, so everything works. Great.